So, dear Michael, what shall the fans expect from your forthcoming album In Amber? I can hear some amazing 70s vibes with a modern, powerful sound.
Yeah, that's what I was aiming for, to make it the 70s style, but not forgetting where I come from, my Merciful Fate days, and give it a bit of a Merciful Fate flavor, but at the same time make it a 70s, because 70s heavy rock is the music I like the most.
Yeah.
And if you see my record collection, most of the records in my collection is obscure stuff from the 70s, with heavy shit. So it was quite obvious for me to, with this album, to do exactly the music style I love, So that's how it happened,
Yeah. And which are the lyrics of In Amber all about?
It's about deeper things in life. I have a poet who helps me, Jesper Harritz. So we did the lyrics. He did most of the lyrics, and I helped to transform it into the melody so that it fitted the melody, But it was my close friendship with the poet Jesper Harritz, that made the lyrics. And he's a very deep guy, He's been traveling to Himalaya, looking over the mountains and the deeper things, the universe and and so on, and also on personal matters, with the feelings you have inside for people you love, and but in a deeper way, not try to write it like a pop song, but make it a bit deeper and maybe even a bit more hippie, psychedelic type of lyrics somehow,
And
so that was the aim, to make it a bit more interesting, and of course try to avoid all the Satan, Satan lyrics or about fighting with people or riding a motorbike, We thought it could be more suitable for the music to make the lyrics more deep. So that's what we tried to do, and I think it happened. It worked out perfectly.
Yeah, and how is to work with an American singer?
Oh, what I did was I went into the studio and I sang the songs with my lyrics, and I sent it to Chandler, our new singer, and he took my ideas, my melodies, and my lyrics, and gave it his own touch, and it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
So that was a very easy task, It came so easy because Chandler, even though he's a bit younger than me, he has the same taste in music as I do, So it was so easy to work with this guy, Maybe the easiest singer I ever worked with.
Yeah.
So that was a great pleasure for me.
Yeah. And are you planning a live activity as well as Denner's Inferno? What shall we expect on stage?
Yes. The thing is, we are about to do bookings for festivals and shows here in Scandinavia, and then hopefully I will be able to travel through Western Europe, to make some jobs, like Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, Italy, Spain, and so on, So, but we started. I just finished some bookings with the Scandinavian bookers, promoters. So from there on, we will continue to book shows during early summer. We start around April, May, and then just continue booking. So we have a full tour when we are at that point, So I hope, of course, I will be able to be near you guys.
Yeah, that would
because
be amazing.
It's been a while since I played Italy, not since mid 80s with Merciful Fate. So I would love to return and play.
Which are your main influences as a composer and as a guitar player?
My main influences as a composer is all obscure shit I have in my collection. So, but then again, I'm also a huge fan of Deep Purple up until they broke up. The early stuff with Blackmore on guitar. Everything with Blackmore on it, the early the early Deep Purple stuff, and Uriah Heep with David Byron on vocals, Led Zeppelin, Mountain. All these early 70s bands. I'm a huge fan of that kind of music. But as a guitarist, it's more. I have my favorite, like I mentioned, Richie Blackmore. But they're mainly the German guys, Michael Schenker, Uli Roth, These are very huge influences on my guitar playing. But then again, also, I started playing. When I started playing guitar, it was because my father played blues guitar in the late 60s, early 70s. So, of course, I was inspired by him and learned a lot of things by just looking at his hands, and how he played the guitar. So that was, of course, also a huge inspiration for me.
Yeah, and you've been owning a record store in Copenhagen for ages.
30 years, actually.
30.
for the last 30 years. It's a very wise and nice thing because I'm a musician. But at the same time, I can sell my records in my shop and sign them and meet people, meet the fans of King Diamond, Merciful Fate, and so on. They know where I'm at in Copenhagen, and they can come and visit me. I will make a pot of coffee, and we can talk about the old days and the new album and so on. And people do that every day, and they come from all around the world to visit me. So it's like... here in Denmark, we have, the Danish Queen, we have the Little Mermaid and Hans Christian Andersen's house and shit. But these days, it's like nearly like a tourist attraction. When some heavy metal people come to Copenhagen, they will know that I'm there, and go and visit me like I was an old castle, or I mean, and that's a very nice and pleasant thing for me to be able to greet and meet the fans. It's just perfect. It fit perfect.
Yeah, and which differences do you find in selling records today in comparison with the past?
I mean, I had some very tough years in the 90s because I've always been a huge, my huge interest was to sell vinyl records. But suddenly people throw out vinyl, and they just came with their vinyl collections and say, I don't want this old shit in my house anymore. So could you give me a few CDs or some money for them? And I just kept on buying, and people say, are you crazy, man? What do you want to do with all this old shit? But I said, just wait. One day it will turn. and it did a few years ago. Then people started buying vinyl again and didn't want to buy the CDs. So then I grew. I bought during the years. I collected a big stack of vinyls to the day when it will return, and it did. So my business is going very great these days,
And talking about the past, which are your best and worst memories from the days with Merciful Fate?
I must admit, the worst thing I remember is the thing that happened just a few days ago. They decided to reform the band without me.
Yeah.
So that must be one of the worst things I experienced. But there's a lot of small things. I remember we played in Rome in Italy, and some guy took a fire extinguisher and turned it on, and so we were covered in foam. It looks like snow, and while we play on stage. And I mean, the stage was slippery like you were ice skating, And King got all this white foam in his throat, so his voice was going, and it was terrible. It was on my guitar strings, on my guitar, on everything, So I think it was some Christian guy, who wanted to punish us, and he managed to do that. So that was one of the worst experience. But of course, some of the best experience was to play the big festivals. Go on tour for the first time with the band, and gain success in other countries than Denmark, That was and also, of course, to record Melissa and Don't Break the Oath and these records, which was a fantastic experience, because the band was so tight, and we were great friends, and we played good music and suddenly the success came after that, and also, of course, to know that people, big names in heavy metal, they've been inspired by Merciful Fate. That's a great honor for us, for me. I must say that. So there's a lot of good things to tell about the days, Merciful Fate days.
Yeah, and
really.
Somehow, are you still in touch with King Diamond and Hank Sherman?
I was up till this point,
okay.
Because, I mean, it came as a big shock for me that they left me out, so I haven't talked to them since, because now there's nothing really to talk about. Of course I was disappointed, and I mean, they left me out, so that's the end of it, really, I will concentrate on my own stuff now.
So the latest project with Hank was the DENNER Sherman project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sad to say, because the thing we did, the two records we did, was absolutely brilliant. And I had the pleasure to work with the best metal drummer in the world, Snowy Shaw, who's also one of my closest friends, you know. So that was a big pleasure, and also with the Americans, Sean and Mark, who did a marvelous job on these records, you know. So that was a great experience, but that was the only two records we did. Yeah. Because there will be nothing more after this, you know. That was the end of it.
Yeah, and
sad to say, you know.
Is there any band from Italy that you know or like?
I mean, like I said, I'm into the old stuff, you know. Yeah. So bands like PFM, for instance, progressive rock, I really enjoy that kind of music, you know. So I'm also there's also a guy called Paul Chain. Who play doomy stuff. I mean, I love the old shit, man. I love when people play music like that. I really love it.
Yeah, and which final message and greeting would you send out to the Italian fans of Michael Denner?
I mean, it would be a great pleasure for me to work this tour out and be able to return to Italy after so many years to play for you guys, man. That would be a great experience. Also because I had during the 90s, I had a close relationship with Italy because I had a girlfriend who was Italian.
Oh, really?
So I could travel to Milan and to Genoa, these places, Firenze, you know, Florence. So I have a close relationship with Italy. I even tried to learn Italian at that point, and I learned something. But unfortunately, during the years, it's been 30 years ago. So I lost it. I don't know much of the Italian language anymore, you know. So, but maybe it's time to take lessons. To take lessons before I go on tour. So I'm able to talk to you guys in your local language.